Nicole Hawthorne here, doing a video after a super long time. I figured I would just kind of jump into the things that most people ask about, which is wholesale, or basically selling your products in stores. And so today I'm going to talk about basically how to know whether your product is ready to be sold in stores or sold in restaurants or I don't know, gift boxes, subscription boxes, things like that, sold wholesale. And so I'm going to approach it in a way to where I'm basically outlining, this is how you know that you are not ready to engage in wholesale for your business, which I think is a better way to approach it, because it's easy to say, well, I do this, I do this, I do this, because you forget about the things that you're not doing that are really important. So I have 6 things that I thought of to talk about. Again, just outlining why your business would not be ready for wholesale if you don't have these things conquered. So the first thing, if you don't know the difference between wholesale and resale, those are two completely different beasts. And that's like a whole other video. But in a gist, wholesale is business to business. Retail is business to consumer. And in both of those, the first business is you, or the business part is you. So business to business, or B2B, is wholesale, which is I sell, my business sells to other businesses. And then retail is my business sells to the consumer. Retail would be me selling at a local craft show. My business is selling directly to the end consumer. I remember having a conversation with someone a while ago, explaining to them wholesale, and that basically a rule of thumb is that it's 50% profit to the store. So if I have an item that I sell for $10 retail, well, I'm going to sell it for $5 to the wholesale customer because they have to make a profit. If I sell it to the wholesale customer for the same retail price, they're not making a profit. I feel like that part is pretty much common sense. If I sell it to my retail customer for $10, then that's a $10 sale, right? But if I sell it to a wholesale customer, they made no profit. So what's the point of me buying it? So you sell them a higher quantity at a discounted price. So let's say I have this item that's $10, but for wholesale, I break it to $5 because it's 50%. But they have to buy at least 6 of them. So that's $30. So they have to spend at least $30 to get 6 of these things to sell in their store. So yeah, I made less money per item, but the bulk of it, I make more money because of the volume to the wholesale customer. And just going back, so this one person, I was talking to them about wholesale, how it worked, that it's 50% generally. And they made the comment that I don't want to give away half of my money. If you don't understand the difference, you're not ready for your stuff to be sold in stores. You're just not. You just spend some more time to understand how this works, and then maybe later on you'll be ready. The second item, you don't know the cost of goods sold. The cost of goods sold is the cost to make your item. If you don't understand down to the penny how much it costs to create your item, then you're not ready for wholesale, because you're not even ready for retail. You need to know how much it costs you to make your product, because you have to know how much to sell it for. So if you're just making cupcakes and you have no idea how much it's costing you to make each cupcake, how do you know how much to sell them for? And if you don't know how much to sell them for retail, then you certainly don't know how much to sell them for wholesale. And you could be undercharging or overcharging. And both of those are bad, because undercharging, you're losing money, or you're probably not even making a profit. And then overcharging, it's like, well, I'm not going to buy that because you overpriced. It's overpriced. I can get something very similar from somebody else for a reasonable price, or what they feel is a reasonable price. And if most of these items are around the same price range and yours is way out of the water, then you're not going to make any wholesale sale. So you need to know the cost of goods sold. And if you don't know what that is, Google it. I'll probably do a video on the cost of goods sold if I haven't already. I really don't remember. But I'll do a video on cost of goods sold, just so that people can have an idea. Third item, if your products are not selling, if you can't get them to sell, it might mean that nobody wants it. And that's kind of a loaded statement right there. So you can sell on your website, you can sell on Etsy, you can sell in person. And I understand that it can be difficult to get people to buy stuff, to visit your website, to get traffic to your website, to maybe get traffic to your Etsy shop. I get that. So take that with a grain of salt. But if you are serious about selling your product, then why are you not selling at farmers markets? Why are you not selling at craft shows, craft fairs, outdoor markets? You should be doing those. When I first started out, I didn't get any foot traffic. I got maybe 1 or 2 sales on my website in a year, but I made a killing when I did live shows, when I did craft fairs, when I did outdoor markets. I made a lot of sales. So I knew that my product was desirable. I knew that people did want my product, even if it wasn't selling on my website, because again, people may not be able to find your website. And that's okay in a sense for now, because you can still sell in person. But if you're selling in person and you're still not making any sales, then you don't need to be sold wholesale, because obviously nobody wants it. And that's a whole different issue, because maybe you have a product that is outdated. Nobody wants it. It's not a product that people care about. Your product has to be something that has a demand. So that could be why your product isn't selling. Maybe it's not, you're not selling it excellently. Maybe your display is trash. Maybe you're not marketing it well, because if you throw your stuff together, people aren't going to spend their money, because that's the first perception. You have to catch my attention. And if you don't catch my attention, I'm not going to stop to look, because I don't care. If I'm just walking by, and as I'm walking, I'm looking at it as I'm walking by. And if it doesn't catch my attention to make me come to your table, that means that people don't want it. So you really have to evaluate why your product is not selling. Again, is it not selling because maybe it's an obsolete product? Am I trying to sell to the wrong market? And is my price too high? Is my presentation poor? There's a lot of different things, and you really have to be honest with yourself. Like, don't just say everybody being a hater. That's not the case. Sometimes it's something that you have to fix. And when you fix it, oftentimes your product sells, because that's what I did. I had to change my presentation. And once I did, it's all marketing. You have to do research. And once you fix your marketing, you fix your packaging, fix your sales pitch, whatever, sometimes the product will sell. If your product, so here's the fourth thing. If your product is selling, but you're only selling to people that you know, you don't have a business. That's just, if the only people that are interested in buying your product are people that you know, then you haven't been successful in reaching your target market. You have not been successful in getting people that you don't know to purchase your product, because that's when you know you've made it, in a sense, made it. When people that you don't know are willing to spend money on you. And I remember years ago, someone told me that if you are only successfully selling to people that you know, people to family members, acquaintances of family members, then you probably need to really take a good look at your business, because something's not right. And if that's for a long time, those are the only sales that you're making, then there's a dead cat on the line. Starting out, of course, you're only going to get people that you know to buy, and your friends and acquaintances. But eventually, that should be a thing of the past. You should start selling to people that you don't know, because if people that you don't know are not willing to buy it, then you need to go back and reevaluate, why is my product not selling? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5, I'm so big on this. If you don't even have insurance, you don't have general liability insurance for your business, you don't need to be sold in nobody's store, because I feel like that's irresponsible to sell a product to other people and you're not even insured. If you are selling products, I don't care if it's food, a physical item, it doesn't matter. You should have insurance. And if you cannot afford insurance, then you shouldn't be selling. That's the first thing that you should have, because God forbid you do have some kind of claim. Let's say you made some kind of a baby, like a product, a decorative product, and that goes in a baby's room and it falls and hits the baby's head, and the people have to take their baby to the doctor, well, that's a legitimate claim. I know for a fact that this item that you made did not hold up and it caused an injury to my baby. I have a bill, you pay it. And they're right, you owe that bill. So you need to have insurance to protect yourself from a liability claim. And that's just a responsibility of being a business owner. And if you don't understand the importance of having liability insurance on your business, you don't need to be in business. And I mean, I just cannot stress that enough, the need for insurance. On top of the fact that many stores require you to show proof of insurance, some of them will actually require that they be added as a loss payee. So if your product is sold in their store and a customer comes to them and they say, hey, I bought this product from you and it did this, this, and this, they're going to come to you because they're not responsible for that. You are. And many times they will say, we need to be added as a payee on your insurance or an insured party on your insurance. And even some events that I've done, they have required me to add their name as an interested party on the declarations page of my insurance, just so that they would be protected. If something happens at that event because of me, they want to be protected. And then the last thing that I could think of was, you are not ready for your products to be sold in stores if you have more of a side hustle than a business. If your business is a side hustle, if you're not doing anything that's business-like, then it's a side hustle. If you're not paying taxes, it's a side hustle. I feel like if you don't give people receipts, it's a side hustle. If you're not doing anything legitimately on paper, it's a side hustle. If you don't have concrete prices, it's a side hustle. If you don't have a website, it's a side hustle. And that's not a business. In my opinion, that's not a business. And I'm interested to see on what you think is a sign that somebody's business is a side hustle. There's so many things. And I get so tired of people saying they have a business and there's nothing about their business that says business. It looks like a side hustle and you're just doing something to make extra money at the lowest possible price that it's going to cost you. In business, you're going to spend money. You have to spend money. I'm so going on a tangent here. A hustle is somebody who just will not spend money. They don't do branding. They'll bring something to you in a Walmart bag. That's a hustle. If you are not trying to stand out as a business and present your whatever you're selling as a business, that's a side hustle. And you should not be sold in people's stores, because I'm pretty sure you don't know anything about maintaining a business and operating as a business. So for anybody who is interested in selling their product in stores one day soon, one day later, I hope you just go over these things and just kind of go through, and you can fix them. You can be ready to be sold in stores. I don't want to discourage anybody, because anybody can be sold in stores. I always think back on the first store that gave me a chance. Look back now, and it looked so bad, and they still gave me a chance. And then I used that to perfect everything. I spent the last 5 years just perfecting my business. But when I first started, it was just me. And then my husband would help when he was able to, because we both have jobs. And so I look at that, and if I could do it, anybody can do it. So just to recap, if you want your product to be sold in stores, oh, you know what? Before I even get there, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a 7th item. If you are not consistent, you're not ready to be sold in stores, because you're not taking it seriously. I've talked to people before, and they admit that they're inconsistent, but admitting it doesn't change anything. That doesn't make it better just because you admitted it. That's not good. Businesses don't grow from inconsistency. And once you get sold in stores, you have to be consistent. You have no choice to be consistent, because these stores are relying on you. So I feel like if you are a small business owner and you just can't be consistent, you're all over the place, you're not ready to be sold in stores. You need to get it together. You need to have a recipe for your business. You have to have a plan for your business. Everything has to be laid out. Don't just rely on trying to remember everything. Use those notes in your phone to keep things in there. Keep notes. Write it out. Type it out. Make a standard operating procedures manual. so that you know how to run your business. Because when you are ready, if you ever are ready to hire employees, you have to be able to tell them how to operate the business. And that's a whole nother video. Getting employees ready to do the job that you've been doing by yourself. So let me go back over this. These are 7 things that you need to work on and that you have to have conquered if you want to be sold in stores, or if you feel like you are ready to be sold in stores. So to go over them, I wrote them down. So you need to know the difference between wholesale and resale. You need to know the cost of goods sold. You need to know how much it is costing you to make each product. And then just a caveat to that, you need to know your profit margin. You need to know how much money you're making. Number 3, you need to figure out why your product is not selling if it's not selling. Remember, if it's not selling on your website, or if it's not selling on your Amazon store or on Etsy, take that with a grain of salt. That's not too big of a deal, but it needs to be selling if you're doing pop-up markets and craft shows and outdoor markets. Your products need to be selling, because if they're not selling at least there, you're not ready for wholesale. Number 4, if your product is only selling to people that you know, you need to figure out why people that you don't know are not buying your product. Number 5, you need to make sure that you have general liability insurance. I have a whole video on that. Go look at that. Because there are people that make careers out of filing claims against companies. Number 6, you need to make sure that your business is a business and not just a hustle, not just a way for you to just make some extra money on the side that you're not claiming and that you're not reporting to the IRS. It needs to be a legitimate business and not a hustle. And then the last one is you need to be consistent in your business. You need to be consistent in everything that you're doing and making it a habit to be consistent. So if this video has been helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. I promise I'm going to try to work hard this year to get more videos out, even if they're like 5 minutes. I'm working on that, but we are really busy here. I know I said earlier, if you have a comment on what you think is a hustle and not a business, like a sign of that. And then also, if you just have a comment to add to what I've said as far as your business being ready for wholesale, and share the video if you thought it was good too. I know that was all over the place, but hopefully I will see you guys next video. Thank you so much for watching.